Right, coming up now, we've got an interesting conversation with Yael Althul from AppsFlyer about a single source of truth for measurement, something that is very, very close to my heart. I really love this type of discussion. So I'm really, really excited to meet Yael and find out a little bit more about single source of truth measurements. How are you doing today? It's really great to see you.
Thank you very much. It's great to see you too.
Awesome. Well, look, if you've got any questions for Yael, please don't hesitate to put them into the Q&A box below. You can also talk about it, #PGConnects. You can go over onto @PocketGamer, and we're here all afternoon. So please keep your feedback. Please keep your fun coming in. Over to you, Yael. I'll be back in a few minutes.
So hello, everyone. My name is Yael Althul, and I'm a product manager in AppsFlyer Scan Group. And in today's session, I want to walk you through some of the main challenges presented by iOS 14 and how AppsFlyer created a single source of truth that really help advertisers to maximize user value measurement. So let's just start. So the mobile marketing industry used to have a unique identifier, which was the gold standard for user level matching between ad engagement, installs, and then in-app events. Advertisers also had a real-time data that helped them to optimize and get decisions on the spot. They also had unlimited LTV tracking and one source of truth where they could optimize campaigns and get decisions. With the introduction of iOS 14 and SKAdNetwork in WWDC 2020, the mobile marketing world was changed forever. iOS 14 gave users back control over their privacy, required them to consent to share their IDFA. But on the other hand, marketeers have now lost access to most of the IDFAs in their database. So in order to fill that gap, Apple required marketeers to adopt SKAdNetwork, which is a deterministic solution that helps to attribute all users regardless of ATT consent. But this solution comes with the cost of user-level granularity. So now advertisers are facing two main challenges. The first one is how to understand the actual picture of marketing performance. And the second one is how to optimize their media spend and channel mix. And in AppsFlyer, we see those trends very clearly. The adoption of iOS 14.5 is almost 80%. Usually the sharp lift starts when Apple starts pushing for the adoption. And here we can see that the sharp lift starts a little bit in delay since Apple delayed the enforcement, which also include ATT. With high correlation to this one, we see that we have a continuous decrease in the rate of IDFA over time. And if we will focus on gaming, we can see that for hyper-casual gaming, the percentage are a little bit higher compared to other gaming categories. By the way, if we exclude the 30% of devices that are with older versions, the numbers here will be much lower, around 11–15% max. So let's start just breaking down each challenge. How can marketeers really understand the actual picture of their marketing performance? Marketeer lives were switched from a unified reality to one that is siloed across different dimensions. We have SKAdNetworks, we have Apple searches, we have the MMPs, but which one of them is true? How we can really understand the actual picture of our marketing performance? So one can say, there is no problem. Let's just use the relevant model for the relevant use case. So unfortunately, we can't. SKAdNetwork by design is anonymous. That means that we cannot really know for sure if a specific conversion was also attributed to a different model. So we cannot really understand the actual picture since the same install can be attributed only to Scan, only to a different model, to both of them, or to none of them. And again, Apple by design developed SKAdNetwork with features like random delay and privacy threshold in order to prevent from user level matching. And that's what pushed MMPs to develop different APIs, different dashboards in order to represent those different realities. And we all know that when we have different dashboards, different APIs, different realities, we cannot get the actual picture. We cannot create a single source of truth. On top of that, Apple, by design, limits advertisers' ability to measure post-install activity, like retention, conversion, engagement, and so on. After talking with hundreds of our clients from different regions, tier, and verticals, one thing is very clear to us. Mastering the conversion value mapping is something that is super challenging, even for the most savviest one. First of all, we have only one postback with one conversion value that should represent any post-install activity. Also, all the work of the decoding and the encoding itself is something that is very challenging. And it's also very time-consuming, requiring our marketers to invest more time in conversion value optimization rather on campaign optimization. So how can marketers now keep growing their business with all of those scans, rules, and limitations that are a huge burden on them? As the industry continues to acclimate to this new era, it is critical that data accuracy and user privacy will continue to coexist. And here at AppsFlyer, it's our mission to empower advertisers through these changes. Creating a true picture of marketing performance is something that is mission critical for us. And a single source of truth will ensure that advertisers will be able to optimize their ad spend and grow their business. So with that in mind, I am more than excited to introduce you the new Conversion Studio. The new Conversion Studio is one of its kind solution, super flexible, that help advertisers to really maximize user value measurement in this new reality. Using this solution, advertisers will spend less time on manual work and more time in optimization. They will be able to focus on what they would like to measure without writing a single line of code, since it's a fully automated, fully SaaS controlled solution. So without further ado, let's just jump right into a demo. So in this new UI of the Conversion Studio, the advertiser can choose what he would like to measure. On the right side, you can see that we have a full transparency for the conversion value capacity and mapping. We will be able to see how many values were used and how many values we have left, and also how each event is being mapped to a specific conversion value. In the end, we will also be able to download the CSV file with all of this mapping and save it for later. So until now, advertisers were able to measure only one metric at the same time. They had to choose between revenue, engagement, and conversion. And if they wanted to measure more than one metric, they had to code all the solution themselves. The thing, for example, require them to upload a new version each time. So in this new solution, we can measure all of those metrics at the same time. For example, funnel is the most efficient way to measure sequential event. That means that one event must happen before the other. So for example, if you want to measure level complete 1, 2, and 3, we will use the funnel in order to measure all the conversions. And if, for example, level 2 happened, we will report on both A 1 and 2. And if level 3 happened, we will report on both 1, 2, and 3. As you can see on the right side, since the events are sequential, we will use only 3 values on top of the install. If we will use the in-app event component in order to measure them separately, you can see that I am using 7 additional values on top of the install. And that is because we need to calculate all the different combinations because each event is independent. So funnel is just one example of how we can utilize even better now all of the conversion values. And when we save conversion values, we can measure more with the same number of conversion values. Another example for measurement is revenue. For revenue, we can measure either overall revenue or in-app event revenue. For in-app event revenue, we can choose, for example, to measure a specific conversion, meaning if the in-app event happened or didn't happen, or to measure engagements. Using the ranges, we can reach now up to 1,000, 2,000, how many engagements that we would like to. So we are not limited to a 63 engagement or to $63 anymore. We can also use the revenue component in order to distinguish between ad monetization and in-app event revenue. You can see now that I'm measuring the revenue that is being associated to ad monetization and also the revenue that is being associated to AF purchase. And if you will look at the right side, you can see that I can know how each value is being used in order to represent my metrics. For example, the number 3 represents an ad revenue purchase event of $1 and an AF purchase revenue event of $1 and an activity window of 24. So this conversion mapping happens in real time and gives us full transparency for our conversion values mapping. Another really cool capability that we have is the way to extend our post-install activity measurement to up to 72 hours post-install, assuming that the user is still active. Because if Apple timer stopped because the user was not active, we cannot update the conversion value anymore. So now you can measure up to 72 hours post-install, and you can split this window into 12 or 24 hours interval. The intervals help us, first of all, to calculate the install time in a more precise way, because we can know when the user was last active. For example, if we will indicate that the user was last active between 36 to 40 hours post-install, we can use this indication in order to calculate the install time in a more precise way. We can also use this indication in order to build kind of a retention report. So as you can see, in like 2-3 seconds, I can configure my conversion value mapping in an easy UI, and then AppsFlyer will do all the encoding and all the decoding and all the hard work, providing you reports, dashboards, APIs with all of the analysis. So let's continue. If you will summarize the conversion value capability, in order to answer the market needs for better user value measurement, we provided the Conversion Studio. And the Conversion Studio solution is, first of all, a solution that provides us an ability to measure more than one metric at the same time. The measurement itself is super flexible. We can measure any event that we would like to in any range. We can extend the post-install activity window to up to 72 hours, and we can really fine-tune our strategy now. So we talked about the metrics that we would like to measure, but how can we now understand the actual picture of our marketing performance? In the Conversion Studio, we provide an option to allocate 1 bit in order to indicate if a specific install was also attributed to AppsFlyer or not. Then, in the aggregation itself, we will take all of AppsFlyer attributed users and add to it all of scan prospects for which the found attribution flag is false. That way, we will enjoy the advantages of both worlds and overcome some of the advantages of each model. We will be able to provide a single source of truth where each user is being represented only once. So using the Conversion Studio, we will be able to allocate one bit. We will be able to indicate if a user is a duplicate user or not. We will be able to create a single source of truth, and then advertisers will be able to really get actionable marketing insights. But wait, don't we harm the end user privacy? Absolutely not. All of SKAdNetwork protection layers are still there in order to make sure that the end user privacy is not being harmed and that the user is still anonymous. The only thing that this solution is doing is aggregate those two different models, SKAN and the MMP, in order to create one reality where each user is being represented only once. By the way, we will send all the postbacks to the network, regardless if we found attribution or didn't find attribution. That way, the networks can keep optimize the conversion value of SKAdNetwork. So the Conversion Studio is just one piece of the puzzle. After working and investing more than the last 15 months in educating ourselves, our clients, and the entire industry about iOS 14, we focused our efforts in order to develop a cutting-edge, fully privacy-compliant product that can really help advertisers in this new reality. And as you can see, the fact that we have only 6 bits does not mean that we cannot really innovate, just the opposite. Another example for innovation is our Predict SK product. The Predict SK product leverages early post-install engagement measurements in order to provide long-term predictive insights for campaign performance. So we can use those 6 bits in order to predict the user behavior later on, rather on measuring the actual performance in the first 72 hours. And this is another way to how we can use conversion value in order to innovate and understand user behavior in this new reality. So we are just 1% done. We have a lot of things in our roadmap. So with that in mind, I encourage you to contact me and the team, ask questions, and we will be more than happy to help you on board. Thank you.
I've just unmuted myself, thank God. Thank you so much for that. We've got some questions, which is pretty cool, because I thought that was a really good presentation to give us a little bit of an idea about what that landscape's like after the IFTA changes. So with that in mind, have you noticed any differences in the market since then, Yael? Since the IDFA changed?
So sure, first of all, what we can see now is that the rate of IDFA among iOS apps is in a continuous decrease. We have less consented users, and since that, the ID matching in the attribution model also decreased over time. That is why we need to use both SKAN solution that give us a deterministic attribution and the MMP solution that give us a better LTV measurement, more precise LTV measurement for consented users.
That's interesting. One of the things that I think is interesting about this source of truth particularly is that it provides really good single solutions. Oftentimes when we do publishing and self-publishing especially, we have to go through various different funnels and changes and do stuff, when actually this is a really nice, just simple dashboard approach. I know you've only done sort of 1% of the hard work that you've got to do, but there's still a lot here to be able to get your teeth into. Do you think that these are good solutions for self-publishers, or because they're still using independent app stores. So they get their analytics from different places. They want to do their different conversions and points and funnels at different kind of places maybe than live ops and publishers do. What do you think? How does it work for self-publishers? Is it a useful tool?
So first of all, using AppsFlyer, which is an MMP, help you to get a full picture from an unbiased third party.
Yeah.
Instead of going to each partner alone and seeing the picture there, you can see it one time in AppsFlyer in an unbiased way. The second thing is that you can configure your conversion value mapping only one time, and then the MMP is doing all the work for you. We are doing all the encoding and all the decoding and all the hard work without the need of publishing a new app version each time. And we are also working on other products like Predict and Protect and other products that are part of this P360 innovation that can help you use each part of the model anytime you like to test something new without the need to develop it yourself.
What's the way to get into sort of AppsFlyer? Do you have pilot programs, or is there some sort of way that people can connect with you on more of a tentative level? Do you offer trials? Can people try what you do at AppsFlyer? Or?
So for sure, you can contact me and the team, and we will be more than happy to demo you the entire product, offer you some customized solution that will help you to really fine-tune your business strategy. And then we have different trial programs that you can sign in and implement our SDK, use the tool, see if it fits for you.
Because it's that independent thing that you were talking about that made my ears prick up, and I sort of thought to myself, wow, this could be really cool for a lot of people that are self-publishing that don't want to go from sort of dashboard to dashboard to try and figure stuff out. So that's a really good opportunity for people to be able to connect with you, Yael. Once you've supplied this data, how do we apply this to make improvements in the user engagement?
You're talking how do we reflect the data itself?
Yeah.
So we have a variety of data outputs. Each data output can fit another different vertical, different tier, different type of company. We have APIs, we have aggregate reports in CSVs and in JSON, and we have also dashboards that you can use. So it depends if you have a BI team or you don't have a BI team, if you want us to do the aggregation for you, or if you want to use the raw data yourself.
There's a really, really good question that's just popped up here. If we've got AppsFlyer in your tool, do we even need publishers like at all? We can just become as effective as they are without, needing to go there. Surely that's the whole purpose of what it is that you've created here, right?
We are working together with our partners in order to have a good user value measurement in this new ecosystem. So it's a combined work of AppsFlyer with the different partners in order to help advertisers to really understand their marketing performance.
That's really, really good. And following that IDFA question, somebody's asking, are there any worries that the Google store might follow suit?
We don't know what are the plans of Google and other SRMs, but one thing that I can promise for sure, that like we handled the new iOS 14 reality and the new SKAdNetwork reality with a lot of new products and new innovation, we will handle any hiccup along the way.
Oh God, I really need some help with hiccups today. What do you think is on the landscape in the future vis-a-vis your tool against, some of these big technology companies? What do you see coming, and where do you think you fit within that landscape? as AppsFlyer?
So I think that in general, the entire industry now is facing a lot of new challenges in terms of the new way for attribution.
Yeah.
We will need together to adjust to this new reality. We see that ID matching is something that we cannot rely on for 100% of our users. And we will need to overcome things like retargeting, audience creation, and attribution.
Interesting. Really, really interesting. Thank you so much, Yael. Everybody knows how to get in touch with you. They can even reach out to you on Discord. We have a Discord channel that's running throughout this week. And people, if they've missed any part of what it is that Yael has presented today excellently, can reach out and go and talk to her in that channel. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's really good to meet you. And
Thank you very much.
I think it was a really valuable discussion about the future of publishing. So thank you very much indeed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.